Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Meaty Boat Podcast. Or should I say, welcome me back, as I was gone last week. Uh, this is Meaty Boat Podcast, where we talk about movies, TV, music, and video games, and anything else that comes to our minds. My name is Mike. His name is Matt. Got to point the right direction.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. Whatever direction I'm facing, who knows? This is the Media Boat Podcast. This is episode 478. Today is March the 13th, 2025. And yeah, we're back. We're both back. He has returned from the land of Arizona.
Yep.
Um,
It is Palindrome Day. It is
is it?
the 313, yes.
Oh, okay. I see. Are you going to watch a race car?
No, I'm gonna go eat a taco cat.
Oh, okay. You're going to eat a whole one. All right. Good luck. Good luck on that one.
Yes.
Tell your mom.
It
Wow.
is also pre-Pi Day for those of you who
Yes.
celebrate, you
Yes. Pi Day Eve.
mathemaniacs out there. Pi Day Eve.
Eve, palindrome.
Yes, there you go. All right. We're not a palindrome podcast. But we love wordsmithing everything around here, including spoonerisms. Look it up.
Yeah, those were good.
But we'll start this episode with the music section. Start the music section with the Billboard. Start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And the hottest song in the land is still Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. At 2, Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. Coming up at 3, Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. And then at 4 is TV Off by Kendrick Lamar, featuring Lefty Gunplay. And rounding out your top 5, a bar song. You don't have Tipsy here. By
No,
Shabuzi.
I think they stopped putting it in the Billboard listing. I don't know why on their website. It's just a bar song now.
Oh,
Um, Note, this didn't change from last week. This is the same top five.
of course it is. As for your album chart, your Billboard 200, at number 1 is GNX by Kendrick Lamar. At 2, Some Sexy Songs for You by Party Next Door and Drake. Coming in at 3 with an SNL bump, So Close to What by Tate McRae. At 4, SOS by SZA. And rounding out your top 5, Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter.
A fun fact this week, the gap between number one and number two was one of the closest ever. Only 500 units separated Kendrick Lamar from Drake this week.
And I'm sure Drake was very happy to come up short.
He's getting used to it.
If you didn't like any of those albums, we have new releases,
Just a
just
couple.
2 up here for this week. Starting with Halo, not that Halo, Halo on the Inside by Circuit de Yeux and The Father of Make Believe by Coheed and Cambria. Yes, that Coheed and Cambria.
Sure.
All right. Let's get into music news, where
Yeah.
we go to the piano man himself. Tickling those ivories, Billy Joel has postponed not one, not two, not three, but 8 stadium concerts he was scheduled to do between now and July, citing an undisclosed medical condition and saying that his health must come first. The announcement said that the singer, quote, is expected to make a full recovery after a recent surgery. Well, he will be undergoing doctor supervised physical therapy as he recovers as well. Joel said in a statement, quote, while I regret postponing any shows, my health must come first. I look forward to getting back on stage and sharing the joy of live music with our amazing fans. Thank you for understanding. Close quote.
Yeah, that's it. It's a slow music week. This was
Yeah.
the only story I really found. But yeah, it's always notable when a big name like Billy Joel has to stop touring for any reason. Um, I hope it's not nothing serious. I mean, it seems like he got his surgery for whatever it was and is doing better now. But yeah, this is probably disappointing to a lot of boomers who have Billy Joel tickets and need to get their money back now.
Right. I mean, canceling any type of concert, let alone a arena stadium
Yeah,
concert series,
yeah,
for any reason, will throw a wrench to anyone's plans, not just Billy Joel's.
yeah. And Olivia Rodrigo and her friend from that song.
Right. The unknown assailant who
Yeah,
broke her heart.
assailant. I hope she wasn't assailed. I don't think that's part of the song.
Well, is yeah, because he broke her heart and left away to the other girl and had deja vu.
Right. Yeah.
Or
It,
did
it was
she?
that Sabrina Carpenter? Who knows?
Oh, with the other girl. Was the other girl Sabrina Carpenter?
Well, I mean, at least in driver's license.
Oh, is that confirmed?
Yeah, the blonde girl in driver's license is Sabrina Carpenter. There was a love triangle between her and Sabrina and a guy who's also an artist himself. I don't remember his name. Back in their Disney days.
Right. The High School Musical,
Yeah.
the series days.
Yes. But yeah, no, that's definitely confirmed. Yeah, they're not friends typically. I do think they said hi to each other at the Grammys this year, but beyond that, they don't hang out, which is why Swifties thought it was interesting when Taylor chose Sabrina to be an opener for the Eras tour, and that's led credence to the theory that Olivia and Taylor don't talk to each other anymore. Anyways, it's silly. It's all very silly.
It's not just the blonde bonding going on.
Blonding.
Yes.
Well, I want a blondie now. Like one of those
At the
like
Klondike Bar, Blondike Bar.
blonde. Wait, hold on. I
Wait, I
don't
talking
like
about the
saying
Blondie
that.
Fudge Bar?
I'm not gonna say that again. This is a family podcast. No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyways,
What would you do?
no, like a blondie is just like a brownie, but like it's
It's
it's white.
it's whiter. Yes.
Yeah, like yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Still
good. That's all I'm saying. I would like a blondie.
okay.
Anyway.
I cannot bake one for you. I mean, I probably could, but we're still in the music section.
Hey, it's still my birthday week. If you want to bring me some blondies, I wouldn't be mad.
Your present's in the mail.
I've heard. Yes, I got that text message today.
All right.
Anyways,
Anyways,
enough of that.
enough of that. We gotta talk about Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
No, we don't.
What? Yeah, we do. Is that what this is here? Oh,
No, no.
okay,
We
sorry.
are talking about Mayhem,
Yes, this is just
though.
Mayhem by
Yes.
Lady Gaga, which came out last week.
Yes, this is the second year in a row we're actually talking about a new Gaga record, but this time it's the real thing. Last year you talked about the soundtrack album of sorts she did in timing with Joker 2,
Yes,
which you did not care for.
did not
Um,
care for, and it sounds like people did not care for that movie either.
no. And so now Lady Gaga is back with a proper record. This is an actual, like, full-fledged, like, Lady Gaga release. Yeah, like you said, it's called Mayhem. It is a being marketed as a return to pop, but I thought that's already what Chromatica was. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's been 5 years since that. Can you
Maybe
believe
it's
it?
because she stepped away to do the Joker
Buoys,
album, and she's
I
now returning
guess.
back to pop.
I guess so. Regardless, however you read it, it is a Lady Gaga pop record, like the
Hmm.
ones she used to make. Um, yeah. What'd you think about Mayhem?
Uh, I kind of liked it more than I did Chromatica.
Hmm.
I liked it a lot more. It's got more of that pop funk to it, a lot more of that kind of industrial sound that she was known
Mhm.
for back in the late 20 early 2010s. I said
Yeah.
late 2010s.
Yeah.
Late aughts, early 2010s with like Born This Way and what was the one
Bad
Monster, Bad
Romance
Romance. Yeah.
and Poker Face, that
Right.
era.
Yeah, so kind of return to that, but with 15 years of kind of knowledge behind her and very well produced. I will put that out there and hard
Mhm.
stop anyone who says otherwise. This thing sounds super clean and super well vocalized, and everything just flows. I don't know who produced this thing, but put them on the short list for Grammys.
Yeah, I'm also very curious about the production and the co-writing. I have not looked it up and I don't know offhand. But yeah, it definitely is a very well done record.
But yeah, I think it's very bubblegum pop and very surface level for me. It didn't really like get too deep to what Lady Gaga is kind of
Yeah,
known for, but
yeah.
at the same time, I think is more or less kind of a safe record for her at this point.
Yeah, no, it's that's a good point to bring up because I think purportedly this thing is divided into halves, and the first half is kind of your like hard dance album,
Mhm.
and the second half supposedly there's more emotional songwriting happening, but it really is only a couple songs towards the end.
Mhm.
The finale, I'm not counting the
Die,
tack on of Die with a
that's
Smile
fine.
here.
Okay.
Um, but the finale, Blade of Grass, is kind of interesting. It's more of
Mhm.
like a love song between her and her fiance. Uh, and like that's interesting. But like you're right, it's not necessarily that kind of thing. I liken this, like you said, more to kind of her older stuff, like a Born This Way. Reminded me a little bit of at least like tonally of something like Future Nostalgia. Just it's a dance record that is happy to be a dance record, and it's a lot of fun. I really had a good time with it. I also agree with you. I think I liked Chromatica, but this one I think is sticks with me longer. I think that I only listened to a couple times. I feel like I'm gonna go back to Mayhem more.
I feel the same way too. Now
There's
I've got through it
re
a couple times.
Yeah, there's some really high highs on this. Like the first handful of songs are pretty much great. I really like How Bad Do You Want Me, which almost sounds like she's doing Taylor Swift 1989.
Hmm.
Like it is wild. It almost like down to a very Swifty bridge towards the end. I was like, wow, this is very Taylor. I when I was listening to it for the first time, I even asked Christy, "It's like, what are the Jack Antonoff odds here? Like, do we want to roll the dice?" But like I said, I haven't looked up any production credits quite yet. But yeah, I think this is really strong and definitely is a contender for one of the better pop records of the year. If you want to use the term return to form, I think you could. I think
Mhm.
that this definitely some of it is a little close to existing Lady Gaga songs. I think some people might find that weird how close it gets. When Christy was listening to it, she was like, well, this one just sounds like Bad Romance later in the album. This one just sounds like Alejandro. And so she was even like making those comparisons in her head the first time she heard it. I think it is fair. But you're also hearing like Prince in this. You're also hearing a lot of David Bowie in this. Like kind of like uh, Let's Dance era Bowie a little bit on some of the kind of the funkier tracks in the middle. Um, so yeah, I think she's allowed to be self-referential at this point. I think she's gotten to that point in her career where like, yeah, if she wants to make songs kind of like the old songs she made, let her. And I think that's good even with that.
I think when you approach it from that kind of perspective, it's a no-win situation because you
Yeah.
have people in the camp being like, well, like Christy who says, well, it's just like this song. Then you have other
Yeah.
people in the other camp who said, but I like those songs. I want to hear more
Right.
like those songs, and that's what I got here.
I think ultimately that's probably why she did what she's doing. Is it seems like when she went too far away from that recipe, whether it be the Joker thing or remember Joanne,
Hmm.
her like ballads kind of country adjacent record. She learned very quickly that there's an expectation that you have when you are Lady Gaga. And I think now she's leaning into it. She knows she has a legacy and she's making music like that. And I think that's good. And I still think there's room for experimentation and room for interesting sounds. And I think Mayhem proves that. So, yeah, definitely one of the better records so far in 2025. I'm curious to see how long these legs are. Whether we'll be talking about this at the end of the year or not.
It is a March release, so
Yeah,
still a lot of year left
a
to
lot
come.
of year to come.
Yeah, but I mean, for the first Q1 of 2025,
Thumbs up.
big hit. Yep.
Yep. All right.
All right. Do you listen to anything else?
That was pretty much it. Yeah, I listened to that a handful of times. That was pretty much all.
All right. Then let's go to video games, where we start with new releases, including Fate, Reawaken, for everything. Wide release. You got it? You can play it. Also wide release, Beyond the Ice Palace 2, wide release. We also have Rainbreaker for the PC and DC, Dark Legion for the PC. Uh, DC Dark Legion, also mobile game.
Yes, we don't usually point that out, but yes, this one's also a mobile release.
I'm pointing that out because it is pre-installed on my phone. I'll be playing it at 8 o'clock tonight when it finally goes live.
Well, there you go.
But get out of the way because you have not one, but two competing baseball games being released this week.
'Tis the season.
Tis the damn season indeed. First up, we have Out of the Park Baseball 26. That is available for the PC. And then you have your other smaller baseball game, MLB The Show 25 for the PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch.
Yes. So, a note about the show. The show is launching tomorrow if you buy the digital deluxe version that gives you access early. But the proper release is Tuesday the 18th. So most people will be able to play. Also, a reminder, not on Game Pass this year. You will have to purchase it on Xbox if you want to play it. So this is Xbox, PS5, and Switch. Note also, no last gen release this year either. This
Mhm.
is just current gen consoles. So if you want a PS4 version of this game, you're out of luck.
Do you happen to know who the legacy player is this year?
No, I don't.
Okay. I assume they're doing one for the
I'm
deluxe version.
assuming. Yeah, I don't know what's in the digital deluxe pack.
Besides your early access, your extra credits,
Yeah.
your additional skins, ballpark uniforms, things to upgrade your what they call them, Diamond. I think it's Diamond Club.
Yeah, Diamond Dynasty.
Yes. But yeah, other than that, I mean, you have three cover athletes this year for the show 25,
It's
which I
true.
think is the first time they've done that. Almost kind of comparing it to the NCAA cover where they had the three names and then kind of everyone else on
Yeah.
top of it.
The early edition is just gives you early access and a bunch of packs. That's literally it. And
Okay,
daily double rewards and like 20,000 more currency. So really you're paying the extra money for the early access. There's no real other benefit besides Diamond Dynasty cards.
right. Okay, well, that is available if you've pre-ordered it and purchased it.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the video game news and pour one out, wave the white flag. It's finally here. It happened. The
Yeah.
long-awaited rumor was true, and now we get to finally shutter Pokemon Go on your phone forever.
Don't get carried away. That's not what this news story is, but it is kind of a bummer.
All right. So Pokemon Go, Monster Hunter Now, and the rest of Niantic's games business is being sold to Scopely. The people who make Monopoly Go
Mhm.
will now also have Pokemon Go under their banner. The acquisition will see longtime Niantic game studio leaders Kei Kawai and Ed Wu joining Scopely to continue to oversee the developer's various projects. The deal, said to be valued at $3.5 billion,
Whew.
is being backed by the Savvy Games Group. which Scopely is a subsidiary of. That Savvy Games Group, however, don't be fooled by its name, was founded by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. You know, the fund that's controlled by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salam and, people who are also responsible for Live Golf and
Hmm.
trying to sports wash all of Saudi Arabia right now.
Yeah. So I had to add this to the story because Video Games Chronicles story did not mention the Savvy Games Group stuff.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's important to talk about that, especially with the context of what Pokemon Go is. So yeah, if you rewind the tape and look back to our podcast back when we first talked about Live Golf, the concern there is that this was a project basically spearheaded and funded by this Saudi public investment fund. The public investment fund, as the name implies, is mostly 60% of what it does is fund Saudi Arabian projects. It's owned and operated by the Saudi government. However, the other 40% is investments in overseas like industry. One of them has been video games. Now, they've kind of spread it out over several different companies. It's not just Scopely. They own 5% of Nintendo, for example. They own a chunk of Ubisoft. They've like been buying little pieces of the industry for a while now. So it's just Scopely just happens to be one of the things that they wholly own. Like they just straight up bought that company in 2023, maybe seeing the future and seeing how successful Monopoly Go is going to be. Monopoly
Mhm.
Go is the most successful mobile game on the market right now.
Yep,
Um,
I believe it. I used
yeah.
to play it. I was able to stop.
So yeah, buying Pokemon Go is interesting because it takes two things that are basically in the top five all the time and now owned by the same company, owned by the
Hmm.
same group. Um, Where it gets kind of weird is when you consider, so yeah, like I said, when you think about what we talked about with Live Golf, there are concerns that a company run and funded by a government that has countless human rights violations and a lot of questionable things in its history. Not to say that here that the US is clean either. We're not. But I'm just saying that you do keep these things in mind when you're talking about the Saudi government. Um, that was why as you mentioned, a lot of people said, "Oh, well, the Saudi government is trying to get into sports so that way they can like you said, sports wash, like sweep that stuff out like under the rug and distract you by the jangling keys of look at all the cool golf that we have, look at all these cool players that we have in our thing."
Look at Crown Jewel that we put on every year for the WWE.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, the video game stuff is similar. Like, hey, like, look, we're investing in video game development. You love Pokemon Go, right? Like, don't think
Hmm.
about what's behind the scenes. But one of the concerns that makes Pokemon Go interesting, particularly, is that it has, just by the nature of the kind of game it has so much mapping data of where players have gone. It is constantly monitoring where you are if you're playing it as intended. Because it's location based.
Hmm.
All that location data now is accessible theoretically to the Arabian government. Think about that what you will. Like just let that roll around in your brain for a little bit like a marble.
Hmm.
You know, some people, are uncomfortable with that idea. So, yeah.
So if you want to stop playing Pokemon Go, you can and
Yeah.
transfer all your Pokemon to Pokemon Home. Probably not in a one fluid motion. I've seen different threads online saying how to do it, how to properly do it, what you should expect once you do it, especially for any like rare, shinies, event Pokemon
Yeah.
that some can and cannot actually be transferred. Which there's lots of guides out there now
Yeah.
because of uh, this deal being made.
Also, you're going to do this eventually because when Pokemon Champions comes out, you're going to want those guys at home.
Yep.
So, yeah. But yeah, do what you want to do. If you want to keep playing Pokemon Go, hey, I ain't your father. I can't tell you what to do. But just know that this happened, and yeah, it kind of sucks. Like consolidation in general kind of sucks, and to see what was once this phenomenon of video gaming kind of being tossed between owners and now just kind of like who knows what the future of the game looks like. It is kind of sad.
It has been 9 years since Pokemon Go came out, though.
Yeah.
A
So
lot
yeah,
can change in 9 years.
we'll
Don't
see what they
ask
do
me
for
how
the
I
10th
know.
anniversary next year. Oh yeah, I bet. But yeah, who knows what the 10th anniversary next year will look like. We'll see.
We'll see. Let's see here. Okay. Did you play anything? Have you played anything?
Just more avowed, getting a little further in that. Other than that, not really.
Okay. I did play the newest, all five of the newest worlds for Astrobot.
Cool.
The last one came out 2 days ago, and officially played through them, gone through them, beaten them. I don't know if I like them as much as I do the speedrunning ones.
Sure.
I mean, technically they are still speedrunning ones, but these ones are supposed to be more harder. They're like the death trap ones.
Sure.
So a little bit more difficulty added to it. I think it's a well balanced difficulty for it compared to the other ones where you're just like, okay, like dodge, dodge, jump, jump. Here you have to like think about it a bit more, and like you will die a lot more. But death is non-existent in Astral Bot's world. You just get respawn immediately.
Yeah, that's convenient.
Yes. So I think it's a good addition, especially for those players who are looking for more challenges. I just kind of wish that the actual levels were a bit longer. All of them can be done a minute tops,
Sure.
roughly around a minute. So you can
Yeah.
get through all of them in about, I don't know, like a good hour if you keep dying. Otherwise, 15 minutes. Well, there's five worlds, 5 minutes each. So half hour if you're good. You go once, twice through.
I
Otherwise, yeah, it'll
mean,
take you an hour. And it's free TLC. So
it's
what,
free.
what do you
Yeah,
expect?
exactly. And like that's how the main game was too. It's like bite size. Like I kind of like how the game really respects your time. Nothing particularly takes that long to do.
Mhm.
Hmm,
But yeah, I mean, it's still good,
cool.
still fun, still fun to see the new different robots that they put in there.
Still
And like,
game of the year.
oh, why, like, whoa, like you reach the end, like, why was this guy like not included? It's fun seeing that at the end,
Yeah.
like who they do get to add as into the Astrobot world.
Yeah.
Still no Final Fantasy characters if you're keeping track out there.
Must
All
be
right,
Square.
yes, uh, no, well, yeah, Square
Yeah.
and Disney stuff. And then also I've been doing Nikki, still playing Infinity Nikki, still doing the updates.
Hmm.
I am ever so grinding away at that game now.
Yeah, honestly, that's what's kept me from going back. Is like the idea is like, oh, I'm just gonna go back to that grind.
The only reason I'm grinding is because there's stuff that only occurs once a day that I can only get once a day. So it's
Dailies.
like,
Yep.
I
You're doing
have
your
to do
dailies.
this. I have to do this, and I have to jump off. I have to do this, and I have to jump off.
Yep.
But at least I'm mostly done now. I just have to do the upgrade my like internal stuff, my heart of whatever infinity. Because that becomes now a major player of like, oh yeah, by the way, you gotta upgrade everything. And it's like,
Yep.
well, shit, I wish I would have known that. Otherwise, I would have been doing my dailies months ago.
Right.
All the stuff,
Oh well.
and not let the points just sit there. All right. Well, that's all my rant there. So, with that, let's go over to television, and we start with
Yep.
the sports section. All right, we got three main points of sports today.
Okay.
Point number one, Tiger Woods. Yes, that Tiger Woods
Yep.
had ruptured his Achilles tendon.
Ouch.
He has had successful surgery, but do not expect him to play anytime soon, especially on the PGA level. Since he is 49, will turn 50 in December, and at that point, technically qualifies for the senior tour.
Do you think he does it?
I think he goes out there maybe 3 times a year on the senior
Yeah.
tour. Honorary Masters Augusta. tee off champion.
Yeah.
But other than that, Achilles tendon for golf. Don't expect him walking around on 18 holes 4 days in a row on that.
No. No.
Don't expect him to, I will honestly like play that competitively ever. Even when he got his comeback in 2019 for the Masters, that was special because no one thought he'd come back.
Yeah.
Here, it's more like a certain done deal, especially because he's older. It is an Achilles. It is your heel. You're just you need that thing to turn, and you're not going to have all that power.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to affect his game pretty significantly. And so even if he did play, he wouldn't be Tiger Woods. Not to say that he has been Tiger Woods for a long time, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a good thing he started the TGL where he can hit it into virtual golf land.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you don't need to do all that.
Yeah, you don't need to walk five 5,000 yards every hole
Yeah.
or 500 yards, 5,000 yards. Wow, that's a
5,000.
long.
You definitely don't need to walk that far.
No, 500 yards every hole.
That'd be like hiking golf.
Hey, it's virtual. You can have 5,000 yard holes.
You could.
All right. Second point. This upcoming Sunday is Selection Sunday. March Madness is here. This upcoming weekend, we'll get the final brackets of where everyone will be placed for both the men's and women's side. We'll uh, crown our champions in the SEC, Big 12, uh, Big 10, ACC. All your college championships will be this upcoming weekend. More or less, most of those, if you win your tournament, you are guaranteed a spot in there. So, looking at all you Big West uh, fans out there, you win that tournament, you are guaranteed a spot. Anteaters. Uh, Other than that, we'll come Sunday. We'll get our brackets. You have to put them in there. Get your bracket set because the first games will be on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
For the first one, or sorry, last one's in will be Tuesday. So it's here.
It's
I'm gonna
here.
put a bracket out there for everyone, at
Okay.
least in our department. See what happens.
See who gets
All right.
maddest.
Yep. Time to get mad. And third in sports, the NFL season 2025 league officially started yesterday. The first day of the new league year concluded at 12 o'clock yesterday, 12 a.m., which means that clubs and personnels will had to notify players if they would or would not be on the roster. Prior to this past week, has been free agency frenzy, where a lot of different players, as long as they were still on the team, could have been traded away before they hit free agency. Some notable signings include, for the quarterbacks, Sam Darnold to the Seattle Seahawks,
Okay.
Justin Fields to the Jets, Daniel
Sure.
Jones to the Colts, and the rumored Aaron Rodgers to the rumored Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ugh.
I say that is rumored because there's no official word on that yet.
Hmm.
However, through some financial diggings, Aaron Rodgers has apparently purchased Steeler swag, or let's just say.
Sure.
So everyone's pointing to that outing Rodgers is going to the Steelers.
Sure. Why not?
Why not?
They
Um,
they've had problematic quarterbacks in the past. What's another one?
yes. Also, Mac Jones signing with the 49ers.
Okay.
In your running back land, Aaron Jones has signed with the Minnesota Vikings. So that's another Green Bay running back signed with the Vikings. Najee Harris of the Steelers now signs with the Los Angeles Chargers. Javante Williams, out of Dallas, out of Dallas, out of Detroit has signed with the Dallas Cowboys. And the former Dallas Cowboy running back, Rico Dowdle, got out of there and is now signed with the Carolina Panthers. In wide receiver land, Cooper Kupp officially released by the Los Angeles Rams. But don't worry, Rams fans, they did sign Davante Adams for 2 years.
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins, losing the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, has now signed with the Baltimore Ravens. Uh, Mike Williams, who left the Chargers to go to, or was traded from the Chargers to go to the Jets, is now being welcomed back to the Chargers after 1 year.
Huh.
MVS, Marquez Valdez Scantling, who also lost in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, has signed with Seattle Seahawks. And he does that just as the other Seattle Seahawk receiver there, DK Metcalf, was, oh God, where did he go? I think he also signed with the Ravens. I don't see it here, but yeah, he's no longer with the Ravens either. Let's see here. I think those are the main ones in terms of like fantasy related prospects.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then as for edge rushers, Joey Bosa out of big name Joey Bosa out of the Niners signed with Buffalo. And Khalil Mack resigns with the Chargers. Josh Sweat out of just winning the Super Bowl with the Eagles now signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Same with Hassan Reddick out of the Eagles, signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Getting those paydays. Let's see here. And I think that's it in terms of signings everywhere. Or
Okay.
like the big name signings.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good time to check your fantasy team, check your rosters for your favorite team, because you may have new players you know are there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Let's mention real quick before we wrap up sports. Next week will be the final week of spring training baseball because in 2 weeks, it's the start of the season, baby.
Well, we get the Tokyo game first.
Yes, that will be the first official games of the season, and that's the Cubs and the Dodgers,
Yes, I
I
believe
believe.
that is next week on the 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cubs Dodgers play a 3-game series to technically open the MLB season
Yeah.
overseas. Uh,
Technically, because there will still be exhibition games happening after that. In fact, the Dodgers come back to play the Freeway Series here in
exhibition
Anaheim
game, yes.
and right after that. So,
Yep. But yeah, the actual opening day first pitch for all other ball clubs won't be until the 27th, 2 weeks.
yeah, 27.
All
Cool.
right. And then just real briefly, NBA and NHL playoffs right around the corner. No
Playoffs.
one technically eliminated yet, but there's some teams we could start circling and crossing out.
Okay.
All right. That's it for sports.
Cool. All right, that means we'll move over into television news, and we'll start television news today with some casting information. We have several different casting announcements happening. So first, we start. In case you've been wondering what the creative team behind such shows as 30 Rock and the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt are up to, their new show will star Daniel Radcliffe, who will star opposite of Tracy Morgan in an upcoming NBC comedy pilot. Per the show's official logline, quote, a disgraced former football player, played by Tracy Morgan, is on a mission to rehabilitate his image, end quote. Radcliffe will star as Arthur Tobin, described as an award-winning filmmaker who moves into Reggie's mansion to film an immersive documentary about this former star running back. Okay, what are your thoughts about that?
It's another role where Tracy Morgan can be as wild and unpredictable
Yes.
as he wants.
This sounds perfect. And like getting Robert Carlock and Tina Fey
Yep.
behind this and like having that vibe. Daniel Radcliffe is a great comic actor, and I feel like he hasn't really been given the perfect vehicle for that yet. This is that. This is gonna let him do whatever he wants and let Tracy Morgan be Tracy Morgan, and I think that's a win-win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Al Radcliffe can play the straight man with the straight face here.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I'm sure you're happy also to see a show that dives into the world of the NFL, which
Yes.
is interesting as well.
Yes. I assume this is going to be the NFL and not like an arena
Right.
league, although very well
It,
could be.
it could be the X, like they
Like
could do the
XFL,
XFL.
UFL. Yeah, like, yeah, I was a big star in the Canadian League.
Yeah, I wonder. We'll find out, I guess. All right, next up, Oscar and Emmy nominated actress Janet McTeer is set to play Professor Minerva McGonagall in the upcoming Harry Potter series for HBO. Additionally, Emmy nominee Papa Esidu is closing his deal to portray Severus Snape. They are poised to both join John Lithgow, who has already been announced, playing Albus Dumbledore. The series is slated to debut on HBO in late 2026 or early 2027. So, yes, despite the efforts of J.K. Rowling to ruin the reputation and legacy of Harry Potter, this series is still happening. And I guess we'll see.
They'll be shooting on the same sound stages as the original Harry Potter films. So I don't expect that they tore down a lot of what was there.
Yeah,
So you expect to see some familiar locations. And I guess John Lithgow goes from playing a cardinal to playing Dumbledore.
sure, I guess. I don't know. This is a weird choice, especially there was that quote that went around a week or so ago about him saying like, "Hey, I'm getting older. This is probably going to be my legacy. This is going to be the last major role I play." And I'm like,
Yeah.
that is so depressing.
Well, considering that if he's signing on for the show now and it goes
Hmm.
for through all the books,
7 seasons at
eight,
least. Yeah,
seven to 10 seasons, if they don't start
right.
splitting up the last couple books.
If it lasts that long.
Yeah.
It's a big if. We'll find out. In other television casting news, Emmy winner Jeff Daniels has been tapped to recur opposite Jason Segel and Harrison Ford in the upcoming third season of Apple TV Plus's Shrinking. Its second season wrapped late last year, I
Yep.
believe.
I already watched that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I talked about it on here, but
Yeah.
it was fine. Like there's
Yeah.
I like it. I like watching it. I think it has its fun, like unique charm to it.
Sure.
But unlike other shows that we watch, it's not like go tell your go tell everyone that you're watching this. Go tell everyone else to watch this.
It does seem like it's Apple TV's lower popularity show, at least
Hmm.
compared to something like Severance, which is a juggernaut.
Yes.
Like people are watching it, they're just not talking about it. I think you're right.
Yeah. Jeff Daniels will play Jason Segel's father
That makes
in
sense.
this.
That's decent casting.
It's
I can
pretty
see
good
that.
casting. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Um, Seth Rogen has a new, speaking of Apple TV Plus, Seth Rogen has a new show out on
Yes.
called The Studio, I
The
believe.
studio. I saw an ad for this.
Yeah. Apparently it's getting good praise. I might have to look at this, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Check it
not
out.
like high on this coming from like the trailers that I saw and it being Seth Rogen about
Yeah.
Hollywood. And this may just be Hollywood loving another show about Hollywood.
I guess we'll see. We'll try that
Although
out
we had
and
The Franchise, which was a show people liked about
yeah.
Hollywood, and that didn't get past one season.
Right? Like that's super confusing that both are around the same time. But yeah, maybe this will be better. Who knows?
Yep.
Right. Any television thoughts this week?
I got a
And there's
lot
still some
to
stuff that's in process.
still some stuff that's in process, close to wrapping up. White Lotus. I technically haven't started that yet, but going to
Hmm.
be binging that. Severance in the middle of it.
Yep.
The Pit. that should be coming to a close. I don't know how long the shift is going to last, but we did get a second season, so looking forward to that.
Cool.
Um, like I said, the studio on my list of stuff to
Yeah.
watch. There that Grand Ole Opry special
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
last week on my list to watch as well.
It's
Um,
no, it's upcoming still. It's the 19th.
oh, the 19th. Oh,
I
I did.
talked about it last week, but it doesn't happen until the 19th.
No wonder I couldn't find it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, because I was looking on a Peacock. That's NBC, right?
Yeah, it's not
It's
up
gonna be
yet.
an NBC shop. So yeah, I was looking
Yeah.
at Peacock, like, why
It'll
is
be
there? Why
live
don't I
on
see it?
NBC next Wednesday night.
Yep. All right. So I'll be watching that. But what I did finish and what I will be having a write up on this weekend will be Paradise.
Okay.
Because not only did it wrap up on Hulu, but as mentioned before, it got a second season 2 weeks ago, as well as it will be showing on a weekly basis on ABC coming this summer as kind of
Okay.
like those fill-in spots.
Sure.
So just right off the bat, what I've said before after the first 3 episodes still holds true. If you like This Is Us, you're gonna enjoy Paradise.
Okay.
It has that unique charm of you're not sure what's gonna happen next, and a little bit of mystery that unravels over the course of the show. I don't know if I actually liked how they stuck the landing though. I think there's a little at the very last episode, there's a little too much coincidence for me to make this all happen. To
Sure.
where I didn't sour me too much on it, but it felt kind of underwhelming the finality of of the killer's identity.
Sure.
Which like I could see why they chose to go that route, but at the same time, I'm like, but that's not like a big enough twist for me to care about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more other interesting characters that are more have more mystery and mystique behind them that I feel like they could have focused on instead of who the killer ended up being. And that's where I was like, okay, like why? Okay, sure, I get it, but at the same time, they do leave it open for more adventures to continue, not just within the town of Paradise, but outside of it as well.
Okay. Hmm.
When I do my write up, I'll try not to include a whole lot of spoilers, but
But
I think it's worth watching, especially for a summer show. This definitely feels more like a summer show where you're like tuning in every week, trying to like unravel the mystery, much like This Is Us was, but less high stakes than that show.
okay. Cool.
Mm.
All right.
Uh,
Any other shows?
mm. Catching up on Love Is Blind, the finale and reunion are up, but have not officially watched those yet.
Got
Let me mess my TV.
it. Yeah, our version of that is the Bachelor is wrapping up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they just had the women tell all,
They just did the Women Tell All, which was a shit show, as always.
as always.
So yeah, cruising through that. All right, let's
Also,
move
apparently there
on.
was an episode of The Circle or season of The Circle that like I completely did not watch. Oh,
Oh, did you miss that last
yeah.
year? Because there were two last year.
I watched one of them. I didn't watch the
Yeah,
second one.
I know we
Uh,
talked about at least one of them. I don't know if
yeah,
we talked about the second one at all.
I don't think we did. And The Traders wrapped up technically last week, but haven't watched that final finale yet.
Pardon. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on then into cancellations and renewals.
What am I no longer watching?
You're no longer watching Around the Horn, the classic ESPN program. We actually talked about this a couple months ago, about it, how it was going to be canceled soon. Well, that
Officially, we have an
has
end date now.
happened, yes. So the final episode will air on May 23rd and will wrap up 23 seasons of Around the Horn.
That May 23rd is that Friday before Memorial Weekend.
Right, yeah. Next up, we had all those CBS renewals last week, but that's because there are a handful of things from CBS going on the chopping block, including FBI spinoffs International, canceled after 4 seasons, and Most Wanted, canceled after 6 seasons. We also see SWAT coming to an end after 8 seasons, and The Neighborhood wrapping up after its eighth season.
That eighth season will in oh, sorry, no, the seventh season, which is currently airing, will have a backdoor pilot for a spin-off, which could be picked up.
Okay.
But they will shoot an upcoming eighth season, which will be its last.
Okay. So they're moving out of The Neighborhood. All
Or
right.
moving on up. I don't know how you want to go about
One of those two.
that.
Then Netflix has canceled The Recruit after two seasons. So RIP The Recruit. Prime Video has canceled a television show based on Cruel Intentions that apparently aired for one season.
It existed, I
It
guess.
existed. And Prime Video has said that the upcoming third season of The Summer I Turned Pretty will be its final season because there's only three books to adapt.
Oh, I thought that's because they already went past the books.
No. I think there was a three in that series that checks
Okay.
out. Next up, Paramount Plus will renew Criminal Minds Evolution for a fourth season. Running Point on Netflix will get a second season. Storage Wars is still on, in case you
Yep.
didn't know. A&E will be renewing that for a 16th season.
And that will be our episodes now.
Oh boy, an hour of Storage Wars. Oh
Yes.
boy. The Ark on Sci-Fi will get a third season. The Way Home on Hallmark will get a fourth season. The Mistletoe Murders on Hallmark will get a second season. Conan O'Brien Must Go will get a third season on Max. Which, by the way, we finally watched an episode of that. Um,
This is a
it's Conan
travel show.
O'Brien. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Conan O'Brien on a travel show. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. We have a few deaths that we have to talk about real briefly here. First up, George Lowe, age 67, a voice actor most famous for being the voice of Space Ghost on Adult Swim's Space Ghost Coast to Coast,
Mhm.
a classic late night television staple. He also did occasional voices in other Adult Swim shows, such as Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Robot Chicken. So, an iconic voice. Definitely watch old clips of Space Ghost if you want to kind of get the rhythm and like the whole vibe of him. Just one of the funniest voice performances in cartoon history. Just such a brutal person to lose. This is definitely a sad one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then we had Dwayne Wiggins, age 64, was a musician, member of Tony. Also songwriter for the song Feels Good,
Yes, one of the Tonys.
one of the Tonys. We also had Stanley R. Jaffe, age 84, a producer, worked on Kramer versus Kramer, Fatal Attraction, and The Accused, and won an Oscar back in 1980.
Yep, the best picture for Kramer versus
Kramer
Kramer.
versus Kramer, right. And then lastly, Dave Mallow, another voice actor. He was age 76. He did voices in things such as the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the English dub of Digimon, and voices in World of Warcraft.
Yes, he was the intro, outro for Power Rangers,
Mm,
the continued next time on Power Rangers.
yeah.
He was also voiced several of the monsters. Technically, he was with the series all the way up through space, through galaxy, through
Wow.
everything to like Lightspeed, I think was the last one he did.
Wow.
And then most people probably grew up with Digimon, recognize his voice as he was the voice of Angemon and
Okay.
Magna Angemon and
Got it.
a lot of
I
the
can
other,
hear it.
yes,
I can hear it
those,
now.
yes, a lot of those other Digimon as well. But yeah, lots of different voice acting credits to his name,
Yeah.
aside from just here. He was in Fooly Cooly as
Sure.
well. And
A lot of
did a lot
anime
of
dubs.
anime, yeah, a lot of anime dubs.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Well,
he was like Dragon Ball Z. He was one of some characters in there too.
okay. Yeah. Prolific career then. Yeah, will be missed.
Yep.
All right, let's move on out of television and into the last segment of the show, movies. And we always start the movie section with the weekend box office numbers.
Here, I'm gonna shed a tear for the weekend box office because this is so disappointing,
This
so
is sad.
pitiful.
It's sad, but congratulations to Bong Joon-ho, who has a number one movie. There's that.
Asterisk.
Yes, with an asterisk. So your number one movie is Mickey 17 with $19 million in its debut.
Almost as if he was calling his shot. Like, this is going to make 17 million. 17 up there.
Almost.
Mickey 19.
Yeah, Mickey 19. Then following that, number two, Captain America Brave New World drops down to only $8.3 million this week. That's at 176 total domestic.
That will not cross the 200 mark.
No, I think it didn't have the juice after all. Number three, Last Breath made $4 million this week. That's at 14 million. Number four, The Monkey, still clashing those cymbals to the tune of $3.9 million this week. That's at 31. And rounding out your top five, Paddington in Peru with the 3.7 million this week. That's at 36. So that will also just kind of tiptoe around, not really making the money that it should. And way down at number 11, your other debut this week, Night at the Zoopocalypse, only made $850,000.
I
No one cared.
think that was more of an Amazon release than anything.
Yeah, it turns out.
Yes. Well, last week, since you did a solo show, you did not put any
Yes.
predictions on there. So
No, we didn't.
no change in the score.
Right, no change in the score. I still am a point up because I correctly predicted that Captain America would repeat last week. But upcoming this week, we have a decision to make. We have a call to make here. We have two new releases for the 14th. Something called Opus.
With Io Ibidiri.
Okay. Is this about the penguin from Bloom County?
Unfortunately, no. Yes. Way over,
For
exploding way over my head.
Yeah, for listeners of the podcast version, I made a went over his head gesture.
Yes. No, this is Io Ibidiri in a leading role. Uh,
Ooh,
I don't believe this is the time loop film.
I don't know.
May have been. I don't think so. Uh, but we have another film.
We also have Novocaine.
This one stars Jack, not my father, Quaid, as a guy who cannot feel pain. So think nobody,
Mhm.
but can't feel pain.
All right. So your number one movie is likely Novocaine.
Probably.
But so if we're both in agreement there, we need to pick a number.
That's what Opus is. That's right. Uh, she goes to like a compound, like a cult compound,
Uh,
and is surrounded by the cult and is like tries to get out.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, so Io Ibdiri, John Malkovich, and Juliette Lewis.
Sure.
Whereas Novocaine has Jack Quaid, Amber Mid Thunder, and Ray Nicholson. And no, I did not make up those names.
No, you did not.
Okay,
Okay.
technically we have two other releases, but I doubt they're getting as wide release.
Yeah.
One's called Black Bag, starring Michael Fassbender and
Okay.
Kate Blanchett. The other is the Looney Tunes film, The Day
Right.
the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie.
That must be getting some sort of wide release because they showed a trailer before Paddington when we saw it. So that could
Okay,
be wider than you think.
could be. I mean, I've only seen like limited commercials on it, but
Yeah. But you're right. That's probably not a contender for your number one spot this week.
all right. So four movies coming out this week.
Yeah.
Do we want to put it on one?
I think we'll do Novocaine. I think that's safe.
I think
But
it's
yeah,
safe too.
we need to pick a number. So if we're sitting at 19 this week, it'll probably do better than that. Um, or do you think it won't?
Really?
Because we
But
could just
Mickey,
put this at 20 and just roll with it.
I'll say because Mickey 17 had Robert Pattinson in it,
That's true.
and it had 19 million. So let's put it at 19 million here. Will it do
19.
better or worse than Mickey 17's opening?
Then I call better then. I think it will do better.
I'm going to call worse because I think this is going to land at 15, yeah, if not less.
Okay, we will see next week. I'm feeling good about this one.
All right. So, Matt, you're going
Yeah,
plus
plus
19.
19.
I'm going sub 19.
All right. We will find out.
All right.
But in the meantime, let's cruise on over into some movie news this week. And we have a visit from an old favorite. This is Spinal Tap, is returning to theaters in a couple of different ways. But the first and most interesting way is it's getting a sequel. Bleecker Street has nabbed the U.S. distribution rights to the 1984 cult comedy This is Spinal Tap and its upcoming sequel, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. A great subtitle. Both films are directed by Rob Reiner, with Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer reprising their roles. Oh my God, they got Harry Shearer to do something? It's a miracle.
They got him out of
Um,
the recording booth. Yes.
Yeah, wow. No, not he has not been in a booth in 30 like not 30 in 20 years like at this point. He records from home. Anyways, they're reprising their roles as the fictional English heavy metal band Spinal Tap in their latest outing. Spinal Tap 2 follows the band as they reunite after a 15-year break for one final concert. Spinal Tap 2 The End Continues will get a wide theatrical release on September 12th and has Reiner returning in the on-screen role of documentarian Martin Marty DeBurgi, in addition to cameos by Elton John, Paul McCartney, Garth Brooks, and Trisha Yearwood. So yes, expect celebrity cameos. Expect that silly sense of humor, just like the first one. Yeah, this is weird. I didn't realize there was that much nostalgia for Spinal Tap, but here we are.
See, you say that, but in 40 years, we will have the same nostalgia for Popstar, and they'll have make Popstar 2,
Just us.
still not stopping.
Yeah, we were the only people who will have nostalgia for that. At least now Christy is part of that group, but yeah, it's
Yes.
I think we're a smaller group than you think.
I'd like to think we're bigger than you think. There's dozens of us out there.
Dozens. But yeah, I mean,
But yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. I've actually never seen Spinal Tap. I'd probably like it. It seems like it would be up my alley.
All right. So when this comes out, September
Do
11th,
do a double.
we'll go to the
Yeah.
double feature for it.
Because that's the other thing this story actually doesn't mention is that they are also putting the original back in theaters,
Hmm.
in the limited release capacity. So that is also happening as part of this.
Yep. So that's what we're doing. We're getting our Spinal Tap on.
All right, we'll make that
We'll
happen.
make an appointment to get Spinal Tapped.
Oh God, I hope not. I'm not ready for that. All right.
No
That's it
one's ready
for.
for it.
No one is. No one ever is. Just now, I'm just thinking about the substance. Anyways, God. Uh yeah, oh by the way, you didn't get to talk about your Oscar reactions because you weren't here last week. Do you have anything since we have actually about 15 minutes left of free
Well,
time here?
I did cry a lot because I got a lot of it wrong.
Yeah, you whiffed it. I said on the show it's like your big swings as I warned you did not pay off.
Yes, and as I warned everyone listening to this, if you wanted to win your individual bets, you should probably have picked Nora and not do what I did.
I got that one at least.
And at least you got that at least. But
Yeah.
I was happy to see Flo win. I was jumping
Yeah.
out. I was going to
I was
text you
shocked.
like, I was about to text you like, this is where I win. Flo wins.
Yeah, no,
And I'm
that
glad I
was
didn't because I would have eaten those words like 2 words later.
yeah, for me the two surprises were Flo and of course the Mikey Madison
Mikey
win.
Madison.
Which I think caught everybody off guard.
Yes, but listening back to our podcast for our talk up about it, you were very high on her and said that she should
Yeah.
win.
I mean, I agree with the choice. It's just that I thought the narrative was going to win out, but it didn't.
Right. It like everyone will say, like, it's a lock, it's a lock. And
Yeah.
sure enough, not a lock.
And what are your thoughts about Sean Baker pulling off the four-peat?
Ah, rare.
Yeah, that
Rarefied
hasn't
air.
happened. He's the
No.
only person I believe they said that has won. The same man has like the same person has won for the same movie 5 times in a night.
Yes. Which is, it's shocking. I don't
Yeah.
know. Now it makes me want to watch Nora, but at the same time, as I'm watching it, I feel like the back of I'm just gonna be thinking like, this is
Yeah.
not the greatest thing ever. This is not the greatest
You
thing ever.
should watch it. It's coming to Max, I
Yes.
think. No, it's coming to. Wait, no, I saw where it's coming. It's either Max or Hulu, and I don't
I
remember
thought I
which
saw it
one.
on Max.
Maybe it's Max. But yeah, definitely, I would definitely recommend watching it. Yeah, don't think about too much about the Oscar stuff. But yeah, I would love to hear your opinion about it at some point.
Yeah, I thought I saw it was coming to Max, like
It's coming to
coming
streaming
soon.
soon.
Yeah,
But all right.
because
Well, that'll do
A24
it.
has that deal.
Yay, 24. All right, let's wrap up the show then. That's it for movies, which means yeah, that does it for this week's edition of the Media Boat podcast. You can find us
Oh, this
next
weekend.
week. Oh, there you go.
Uh, Anora will be available to stream on Hulu starting March
Hulu.
17th.
Okay, there you go.
So that's
Also,
Monday.
of note and something we can talk about next week, Moana 2 is up on Disney Plus as of last night.
Yes, also have to add that to my list of
Yes.
things to watch.
So next week we'll probably talk about that. So next week, let's I can't talk. Next week, stay tuned for thoughts about Moana 2, thoughts about MLB The Show 25,
Hmm.
and I
Thoughts
don't know,
about
probably
my
some other
thoughts
stuff.
about Anora, as well
Hmm.
as thoughts about DC Dark Legion. All right, so next week's gonna have me a full packed show already.
Yeah, we might have to start early next week, which should be okay.
Yes.
But yeah, tune in then. But in the meantime, if you want to find us, we are all over the internet. In video form, we're on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search Media Boat Podcast, and you'll find our channel. Like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications when new videos go live. You can also find us in audio form on podcast services such as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, search Media Boat Podcast. You can also find us on the web at MediaBoatPodcast.com, our archive of our older shows, as well as where our write ups for things that we've enjoyed recently or not enjoyed, depending on the thing,
Yeah.
go up as well. You
My
can,
thoughts on Lost Records, Rage and Bloom is complete, so that can go
yes,
up
I will.
soon.
Yeah, and when I checked last, it hadn't been done. So,
Yeah, I shortcutted the final paragraph because part two is still coming out in
right.
April.
Yeah. So that'll be up there soon. You can also find us on social media on Blue Sky. Just search Media Boat Podcast, and we're on there as well. And with that, that'll do it. We'll see you guys next week for all of the stuff we talked about, plus more news and more goodness. So tune in next time.
Yep, we'll be back with more news, more thoughts, more of us. All right, bye.
All right, bye.